I remember one of the first times I found Reddit. It felt like a secret world where everyone could anonymously share their best tips, darkest secrets, and everything else good, bad, and dirty. Thread after thread, I felt this amazing sense of connection as I pored over these stories of love, solitude, perseverance, and great misfortune. Memes mutated seemingly unique experiences into shared stories. Heroes and villains were collectively adored and rejected. Narratives, trends, and jokes spread with relative ease. This collective idea crafting, of course, wasn't restricted to Reddit. We can look at the rise of the Arab Spring, where social media played a key role in spreading revolutionary dissent across the Middle East. We can also see, more recently, the popularity of pro-Palestinian content emerging on platforms like TikTok. It's as if the internet represents this collective narrative with no singular authority, but rather a global community of anonymous scrollers, likers, and trolls, all vying for a piece of the total digital sum. And while this is going on 24/7, we continue our daily routines in boring old reality, awaiting the ethereal bliss of that deep blue glow. But then came a creeping realization. My personal thoughts and beliefs weren't so unique after all. I stared into the digital abyss, and it stared right back at me. It was as if every thread, every post, was a pixel in some enormous sprawling tapestry. Who was weaving it? Nobody and everybody. This characterization of the digital age is exactly why some authors have drawn parallels between the internet and Carl Jung's collective unconscious. That is, the psychic mind shared by all humans across all regions and generations. Jung's concept of the collective unconscious speaks to something primal, something shared across all humanity. Sharif Abdunnur captures it hauntingly when he writes, "The internet is a modern-day embodiment of Carl Jung's collective unconscious, making what was once unconscious, conscious." But firstly, what is this collective unconscious? Jung proposed that there exists a part of the unconscious mind shared by all humans, containing inherited experiences and archetypal symbols common to humanity. Unlike the personal unconscious, which comprises individual experiences and memories, the collective unconscious is universal and transcends personal history. That's why certain recurring symbols and myths are found across cultures that have never even interacted. According to Jung, the collective unconscious is formed by the collective experiences of our ancestors. This means that our mind is not simply an empty slate that we hold our experiences in. Rather, our unconscious represents those symbols and mythologies that have resonated across space and time. This includes both instincts as well as archetypes, universal symbols and patterns that manifest in myths, dreams, and other cultural expressions. These archetypes, such as the mother, the hero, the shadow, and many others, have deep psychological significance and influence our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. Of course, it would be difficult to prove that such a concept was real, especially if we were to examine the unconscious at the individual level. But what if we were to look at it more globally? What if we had access to content across cultures and demographics? Relating the transmission of digital information to chaos theory, Shaked Hossein notes that the internet exhibits emergent properties similar to Jung's collective unconscious. It is a system of stories and symbols that can only be understood through the interaction and collaboration of millions of users collectively, rather than through one individual or the other. Communities like Wikipedia act as non-localized cognition, where the cognitive processes of the content being created is distributed across countless contributors with varying perspectives. The end product of this is something emergent that transcends mere individual effort. Similarly, Jung envisioned the collective unconscious as something that relies on many individuals coming together in order for it to manifest. Jung believed that it was incredibly important to access and integrate the contents of the collective unconscious in order to reach a state of individuation, the process of becoming a fully developed and self-aware individual. Through exploration of the unconscious, individuals can gain insight into their motivations, fears, and potential for growth. Jung's concept of the collective unconscious also sheds light on the universal aspects of human experience that transcend cultural boundaries. There may be some essential elements to human nature that go beyond local customs and norms. We see something similar happening with the rapid spread of memes, units of cultural transmission that can be conveyed through multiple different forms of media. Not all memes resonate equally, and some seem to capture the attention of global users more than others. Could this suggest that certain memes resonate with some shared unconscious tendencies across the human race, similar to the Jungian archetypes? This video is sponsored by Brilliant. Have you ever wondered how philosophy and math intersect? Both fields seek to understand the fundamental nature of reality, but approach it from different angles. Philosophers explore concepts like truth and existence, while mathematicians uncover the structures that underpin our universe. If you're curious about the philosophy of math, Brilliant makes it easy to explore these connections. Their approach emphasizes learning by doing with interactive methods that are shown to be 6 times more effective than traditional lectures. This makes the learning experience not just insightful, but highly efficient. What I love about Brilliant is its flexibility. You can learn anywhere on your phone. With engaging lessons available whenever you have time, you can dive into new topics or enjoy quick practice sessions, all while building your understanding in just minutes. Brilliant helps you cultivate a powerful daily learning habit effortlessly. Engaging with new concepts a little each day is a refreshing alternative to mindless scrolling. For those interested in the philosophy of math, Brilliant offers courses like Intro to Probability, Mathematical Reasoning, and Logic and Proofs, each exploring foundational concepts that connect philosophy and mathematics. Try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for 30 days by visiting brilliant.org/Sisyphus55 or clicking the link in the description. Plus, you'll receive 20% off an annual premium subscription. Jung was also very interested in how social dynamics played out, as evident in his book, Man in Search of a Soul. He believed that archetypes often manifest in social movements, political ideologies, and cultural phenomena. We rely on these archetypes to provide a sense of meaning and coherence in our social world. For example, the archetype of the hero could be used to inspire individuals to advocate for social justice, while the shadow archetype may manifest in social prejudices and conflicts. Hossein refers to studies done by Christakis and Fowler to illustrate how the internet similarly reflects this collective action emergent in the collective unconscious. Their research has looked at the contagion effect across social media systems, where real-world phenomena such as smoking habits and mood can spread in networks like some sort of contagion. We could also apply this to the spread of resonant movements, such as Black Lives Matter, that heavily relied on grassroots communication on social media. Similarly, Christakis and Fowler have looked at clustering patterns, that different behaviors and moods such as happiness spread in distinct patterns within social networks. Hossein argues the collective unconscious is not just an inborn construct, but also an entity that manifests and evolves through social interaction. Another writer, Sheriff Abdunnur, has gone so far as to call the internet a digital cosmos, a space where every interaction, large and small, contributes to a growing narrative of total human consciousness. Every post and click is an addition to our knowledge of ourselves, whether it's coming from our best friend or a random person 8 countries over. Isn't that sort of beautiful? Some, such as Kevin Kelly, argue that the internet is a sort of technium, the sum total of human creativity and potential. This is hopeful and perhaps divorced from some of the darker aspects of internet culture. And yes, all of this is inspiring, even beautiful, but it's also deeply unsettling. The internet, of course, doesn't just reflect our noblest instincts, it also dredges up the dark, unspoken parts of us, the shadow. Just as Jung warned, we can't grow without confronting the darker parts of our collective psyche. And let's face it, the internet has made those shadows impossible to ignore. Incels, misinformation, and the dark web act as the collective shadow, reflections of our worst impulses that can also have very real consequences. Just as Jung posited, a collective shadow that represents our fears, primal motivations, and anxieties and projections so too we have seen entire communities propagate in this darkness. Digital authoritarianism, a contemporary leadership style that combines the dysfunctional traits of toxic leaders with the amplified and accelerated physics of internet culture, champions publicity, rigid black and white thinking, and a lack of empathy and compassion in order to spread its influence. The toxicity and xenophobia that litters forums and group chats has manifested into real-world consequences for democracy itself. Yes, the internet is exciting and promising, but it has also brought a great deal of darkness. The question is whether we hide in our digital cocoons or plunge fearlessly into the algorithmic cosmos. Collective unconsciousness may have already turned to collective ignorance and collective dismay. And so perhaps we should listen to Jung, who posited decades before the first email was sent, "No noble, well-grown tree ever disowned its dark roots, for it grows not only upward but downward as well." The internet is our tree, our collective mind, our hope, and our responsibility. What will we decide to grow?